my parents just gave me a blessing when I went to Boise State and said, good luck, give me a call. And now when I got my doctorate degree, my dad was like, whoa. I'm proud of you, but I'm never expected you to, to get this far because, this is beyond my wild imagination. And
especially
even though
if you're a first gen student, yeah.
Oh yeah, and even then, I'm here. I'm 8 years into my career, and I still have that sense of, wow, am I really good? Am I, a lot of self doubt still creeps into your mind.
You've just heard Efren Velazquez from the University of North Georgia talking with Eric Landrum on this 137th episode of Psych Sessions, conversations about teaching and stuff. MHS, a sponsor of Psych Sessions, is providing a free ADHD webinar. From one person to another, ADHD can look pretty different between youth and adults over the course of a lifespan. And our understanding of ADHD and the ways that we support people are evolving too. So join MHS for Unmasking ADHD, Practical Strategies to Empower Youth and Adults. This is a free webinar series upcoming for psychology students and faculty and school and clinical psychologists who want to better recognize ADHD. These sessions will explore executive function, the impact of ADHD across the lifespan, the overlap with autism, and the role of performance validity testing. You can hear from leading experts, including Dr. Jack Naglieri, Dr. Elizabeth Sparrow, Dr. Sam Goldstein, and Dr. Cecil Reynolds, as they share practical tools, real cases, and the latest research to support your studies or practice. So whether you're in the classroom or working in a clinic or just beginning a career, this series will equip you with strategies to make a meaningful difference. You can reserve your spot at mhs.com/ADHD-webinar-series-2025. That is mhs.com/ADHD-webinar-series-2025. And you can join a community committed to improving lives through a better understanding of ADHD.
Hi, I'm Bridget Hard, a professor of the practice at Duke University. And I'm a member of STP because it is filled with an incredible community of people who really share my passion for teaching. For me, STP is home. It's a sense of family and friends, people who inspire me, people who give me lots of great ideas for all the different challenges that I face as a teacher. And this community is waiting for you. You can join STP at teachpsych.org.
Hey everyone, Garth here. Thanks for listening to Psych Sessions. If you could go to wherever you listen to our podcast and you would follow that podcast or like it, it really does help us as we are trying to get out to more teachers of psychology. Also, if you haven't checked out our website, please visit psychsessions.org and sign up for our monthly newsletter. We offer free resources and valuable news that you are going to want to know related to the teaching of psychology. Thanks.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Psych Sessions, conversations about teaching and stuff. This has become my trope. I say this at the beginning of every episode that I do, but I'm so thrilled to be here today with Dr. Efren Velazquez from the University of North Georgia. Good morning, Efren.
Good morning, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. The thing, well, there's many things that will emerge in our conversation today, but one of them is Efren is a former student of mine and a Boise State graduate. And so it's a double or triple pleasure to be able to talk to you today.
No, I appreciate that, Eric. And yeah, I graduated from Boise State in 2012. So it's been 13 years since I graduated from Boise State.
Oh man, does that feel like a long time for you, or does that feel like yesterday?
It's a little bit of both. When I think about the years, I'm like, boy, it's been a long time. But at the same time, immediately after I graduated from Boise State, I started grad school, and that flew by. And then I immediately started working here at University of North Georgia, and I started my 8th year at UNG, and that has
Wow,
gone
look
by
at you.
really fast.
Yeah, and I believe, and I think I've got this accurate, you have been promoted and with tenure, and you're now an associate professor. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. And I'm up for promotion to full professor in another 2 years.
Okay.
So, and based off of conversations with my department chair, it seems like they should probably apply for it if still goes well.
Okay, we can come back to that if you want to. Um, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but was there any doubt? Was there any doubt when you applied for tenure and promotion to associate professor?
Because it's 5 years that you're working to get promoted and get tenure. I was working really, really hard, and I started the program with a good friend of mine, Dr. Ralph Hale. So he's coming from UGA. We're both the same age. We're both fresh out of grad school, and we both have the same mindset. Work hard and also, enjoy life, have fun outside. So luckily we've been working together side by side. He's a cognitive psychologist. I'm a health psychologist. And, once we got past pre-tenure review, I think we were both like, okay, we're in a good spot. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And then once we got tenure, you think you would, have it a little bit easier, smoother? No. Like immediately more work's given to you, more opportunities that you don't want to say no to. So the work has not stopped at all, Eric.
Well, I would never expect that the work has stopped at all, but I think it's really common for people going up for promotion to associate or promotion to full to have this, I'm going to call it a self-hesitation,
Yes.
like I might not do it. Have I done enough? Are my materials correctly prepared and all this stuff? But normally, if you don't want to go here, we don't have to. But normally in the rear view mirror, people will look back and go, oh, you know what? I was a slam dunk. I didn't want to say it at the time, but looking back on it, reflecting back on it now, I was a slam dunk.
Reading through my faculty annual evaluations, there's always this sense of, am I really doing good? Do I truly deserve to be here? All right. And even today, I'm an associate professor. I'm tenured, and every once in a while, I have this sense of, man, do I still truly belong here? First generation college student. My parents just gave me a blessing when I went to Boise State and said, good luck, give me a call. And now, when I got my doctorate degree, my dad was like, whoa. I'm proud of you, but I'm never expected you to, to get this far because, this is beyond my wild imagination. And
especially
even though
if you're a first gen student, yeah.
Oh yeah. And even then, I'm here, I'm 8 years into my career and I still have that sense of, wow, am I really good? A lot of self-doubt still creeps into your mind.
Yeah. But so what I hear you describing is the imposter phenomenon.
Yes, imposter syndrome.
Or imposter syndrome, whichever, and there are people who have preferences. I don't, that label. But do you feel it less and less as you go deeper and deeper into your career?
I do, a little bit. But it's still there. I think it'll always be there. And even though I still have that sense, I talk to my students about it and I share my experiences with my students. And I have students that are in PhD programs, and they still have that heavy sensation of imposter syndrome. And I still share, I'm like, hey, it doesn't necessarily go away, but keep working at it. It'll little by little be chipped off, and always remember you deserve to be there.
I think I will be so bold as to say this. I do think the imposter syndrome will go away at some point, but it can switch modalities. And so what I mean by, so I'm in, year 34 at Boise State, year 37 in my career. I don't have an imposter syndrome anymore about being a college professor. But I will tell you that when I started the podcast with my buddy Garth Neufeld, I'd never been a podcaster. I'd never done interviews. And I felt imposter syndrome all over again as a podcaster, as an interviewer. And so that's what I mean by, I would like to think that at some point you'll have the professor thing down and you won't do a double take or hesitate or doubt yourself, but you're going to probably try something new along the way. And that's when, and by the way, I know that it wasn't that long ago that you got married. And so it might be that you've got the professor thing down, but now you got to get the husband thing down.
Yeah. So my wife moved in with me in January. So she was in Mexico. We went through the immigration process, which is a 2-year process. She got her residency in December, moved with me this January. And you're right. I was so used to living alone, working late hours, giving her a call, going to Mexico every 6 months. Now, I have to be very self-aware. I have a wife at home. Staying late, in the office isn't necessarily a preferable thing. So when I do have to stay late, I communicate with her. And then I do feel like, oh my goodness, am I being a good husband? So you're right. The modalities do change. And then you begin to question yourself in different roles that you're undertaking now.
Yeah, so I guess the short version of this is welcome to adulthood, but you already knew that.
Yeah, I'm 36. I'll be 37 in 2 months. So yeah, it took me a while, Eric. It took me a while.
It took us all a while. I'm not sure I hit adulthood until 50, 55, to be honest with you. I mean, and let's not go too deep into this. Just because you have kids doesn't mean you're a good father. And I've actually had one of my daughters on the podcast before, and she was very kind and very polite. So I haven't had my son on yet. So Efren, right before we turned on the record button, clicked on the record button, you were starting to tell me about a project that you were working on with your department chair. I think yesterday. Will you start to retell that story again?
Of course. So it's been a 2-year project that my department chair and I have been working on. And it was to start a family literacy program. Now, originally, it was going to be an ESL program. We saw how difficult that would be to start a full ESL program. So we decided to just switch it to have families come in and then they read. They learn A, how to read, improve their literacy skills, and B, we'll encourage them to bring their children. And in the second hour of the program, the children will go to their parent and the parent will read to their child. It took us 2 hours, 2 years, to create this 2-hour program because A, we need funding. So we were applying for grants. We managed to get a $2,000 grant this year. From the Wish You Well Foundation, which we truly appreciate. And then once we got the grant, we didn't hear back for 6 months. They didn't give us a deadline regarding when if we would get the money. So my department chair and I were like, well, let's see what we can do. And then in May, we got the money and we're like, okay, we need to start planning this out. So throughout the summer, we worked out the 8 sessions. And then we started to, once the semester began, we started to reach out to students. So that's another important component is we're involving students in community engagement. So the students were either tutors reading with the parents or they're education leaders, education associates, where they're going to be working with the kids, or they're part of the logistics team, signing in families, telling families where to go, where to park. So those are the key roles, while me and my department chair are making sure that everything's running smoothly. So yesterday was our first session, and it went really well. I mean, we were extremely tired by the end because the program starts at 6 and ends at 8 in the afternoon. And I was in my office at 7:30 in the morning. So my wife did not see me all day, but the program went extremely well. We had approximately 15 families. Not a lot of children showed up this time around, but we encouraged the parents to bring their children next week. And we're hoping that we're really pilot testing the program this semester with the hope that once we know, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is not what we're not going to do, with the hope that in the spring semester onward, we keep this program going every single semester.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool moving pieces and parts in that, Efren. I think, just doing anything where you outreach to the community, you're making a difference. And I'll bet you felt that yesterday, that you're making a difference. Honestly, I mean, it's a great PR move to be bringing people to your campus, either students or young students or parents who maybe haven't been, or maybe have only been for sporting events. Now they're coming for something academic. They're coming for something that they want to do, not that they've been forced to come, to some mandatory meeting or something. And so and I suspect that you're doing all the academic rigor, you're collecting data, there'll be publications down the road, and that's great. But, if you impact over the course of a few years 100 families, in my world, that's much better than seeing your Scopus numbers and seeing that there's been 100 downloads of your paper.
And that's something that given that we're more of a teaching institution, my department chair really wanted to focus more on let's help the community. Let's make sure we're collecting very, very little data. It's mostly just to assess their reading level at the beginning of the program, at the end of the program. And maybe in the future, we'll create a full-blown study. But in the meantime, my department chair, because we have such a large Hispanic community here in the county that the university's at, we decided, let's see if we can recruit as many Hispanic or families, and also families that just want to improve their literacy skills, and see how many we can serve. Originally, we were thinking 15 to 20, and we were struggling to get those 15 to 20 families. We managed to register over 30 families. Now all the 30 families showed up, and that's to be expected when you do community work, with the hope that hopefully they'll begin the program, if not week 2, at least week 3. But like you said, Eric, if we can serve 100, 200, or even 50 families, I mean, we're making a huge impact at the community level. And also we have students involved, and it's a great opportunity for students to build their resume, build their CV, build skills.
And there's word of mouth is going to be great for you guys, because your parents and your young kids who are in the program are going to talk to their neighbors. They're going to talk to their peers. They're going to go to church and talk to people at church or the grocery store. And that's going to be the snowball. I mean, you might have had to work hard to recruit these first 30 possible families to participate, but I'm suspecting after this, it'll just be a nice snowball sample effect.
That's what we're hoping, and we're we're considering applying for a Dollar General grant in January and other external funding. We actually also started a foundation under the Department of Psychological Science. Now, the money could go to the literacy program, or it could go to other projects that we're doing. So I'm going to be tasked with trying to grow that foundation fund this semester and next semester. And in the long run, hopefully we can make this into a sustainable program where it keeps on going, even, long before my department chair and I are here.
APA Publishing wants to give you 15% off your order. If you teach classes like counseling, clinical psychopathology, or multicultural psychology, then this is for you. APA Publishing has books that are written by experts that are grounded in evidence and really help teachers. I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a book they have right now called Helping Skills. It's in its 6th edition, and it gives students clear, practical frameworks for understanding and learning counseling techniques. It's perfect for hands-on practice and skill development. Here's another one. Cultural humility helps students build self-awareness and engage meaningfully across diverse identities and experiences. So head to apa.org because they want to give you 15% off your order today using code PS15. That's capital P, capital S, 15. Go check out APA Publishing.
Efren, it sounds like you're there for the long haul, or at least for now, you're there for a longish haul. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, that's always an interesting question.
I can edit out anything you want me to.
No. It's, when I originally started, I thought, let's see how it goes. Just, fresh out of grad school. I consider this my first big boy job. Because as a student, you're just living off of whatever stipend, whatever people donate to you off of McDonald's. Those value meals back in the day were really cheap. Back in the day. And, when I was applying for jobs, I used the same method as when I was applying for grad school. I applied all over the country. And I got a few job interviews. I remember my first interview did not go well. It did not go. I could tell I wasn't meshing well with them. They weren't meshing well. There was just no chemistry.
Yep.
But then and I'm like, all right, maybe we're not a good fit for each other. The second one, and that was at UNG, went really great. And then I had another one that went really, really well. When I came to UNG, and I saw there's a large Hispanic population, I was looking for an institution with at least a large Hispanic community around it. And B, the student population, the environment, the atmosphere. It's a small campus because we're a multi-campus institution. So I'm in one of the smaller campuses. But it was really energetic, very cultural, very diverse. When I gave my teaching demonstration, the students got my joke because there were quite a few Hispanic students there. They got the chancla joke. Even my department chair got the joke. So I'm like, all right, I think this is a good fit. And I'll never forget that same day I was living in Louisiana at the time. Finishing my dissertation. So I flew back to Louisiana that same day, and they told me that they were going to give me a call in a week or so. I got a call the next day, and I was still asleep, answered the phone, and I'm like, hello? And they're like, hey, it was the department chair, and he offered me the job, and I was in shock. I did not know how to react. I did not know how to negotiate. I was calling people, but I knew I had to accept the job here because of it just felt right. Now, in the long run, will I stay here X amount of years? I don't know. I'm open to opportunities. Right now, I enjoy teaching. I love teaching, but I'm definitely in the long run wouldn't mind an admin position.
Just look at you
in the future. Who knows, Eric? I'm open to anything though.
Well, and I love hearing your story of the interview and the post interview. And what I'll say there is that it's always good to be wanted.
Yes.
Even if you hadn't taken the UNG position, it's always a good feeling to be wanted.
Oh, it really is. And I remember interviewing at VCU for graduate school. I knew that was the place. And same thing with UNG. And I tell that to my students. When you go for graduate school interviews, when you go for job interviews, you'll have this gut feeling and you'll feel comfortable and you can see yourself there. And if you can if you can check those boxes, then that's the place you deserve to be.
So tell me a little bit about your institution. What's the overall size? What's the size, number of students in the department, number of majors, and number of faculty, that kind of stuff?
Ooh, so UNG are 5 different campuses across all of North Georgia. Gainsville, I'm in the Gainesville campus, Gainesville, Georgia, which is about, I want to say, an hour-ish from Atlanta. So the bigger campus is in Dahlonega, up in north in the mountains. So Gainesville, UNG is actually the Military College of Georgia. Now, the military portion is more in the Dahlonega campus. Each campus has its own identity. We have approximately 20,000 students now. Before the pandemic, we were about that number. After the pandemic, our numbers went down. But slowly, the current president worked really hard and got the numbers back up. The Dahlonega and Gainesville campus has approximately 7,000 to 8,000 students on those campuses. And then the other ones have a little bit less. The bachelor degree programs are mostly in Dahlonega, Gainesville, and we're introducing more bachelor degree programs in the coming campus and hopefully in the future in the other campuses as well. So it's really interesting working in a multi-campus institution because each campus has its own identity. The dual enrollment, or high school students that get college degree or college credits, you usually see them in the smaller campuses. As I mentioned before, Gainesville, known for being the more diverse campus. Dahlonega, more of that military feel to it. All the campuses are very beautiful and very, very unique. Department-wise, we have mostly bachelor degree programs, a few online EDD programs, master's programs. But overall, that's something that the institution's working towards, making sure we increase our graduate student numbers. But we're definitely a teaching institution. The expectation is for faculty tenure track, 60% teaching, and then the other 40%, either you'd split it up, 20 research, 20 service, or you can do a little bit more research, a little bit less service, or vice versa.
Okay. So how many psychology majors on your specific campus?
On my specific campus, that's a great question. Psychology is definitely one of the top 5 departments when it comes to student enrollment across the entire university. We tend to graduate, and it depends on the fall versus spring semester. We tend to graduate more in the spring semester. We have 2 senior SEM classes, which is the last class you have to take in the spring, which typically enrolls almost 20 to 25 students. And that's on the Gainesville campus. Same with Dahlonega. So we probably graduate close to 100 students in the spring.
You may not feel this way, which I appreciate. You have the luxury of small class sizes.
Yes. And that's something that I tell students that come to our school. We actually get to know our students because our class size, if it's a lab course, we're talking 20, maybe 25, and that's pushing it. A typical class, 30, 32. I've taught in large class settings over at VCU, and it has a completely different feel compared to that small class size. And especially with my personality, I joke around with my students. My students get to know me and I get to know them versus in a large class size. I think this is going to sound bad, but I just see a lot of blank faces when I look across the room.
You, if you're lucky, you in a large auditorium style classroom, you get to know the first 3 rows.
Exactly.
And that's who you interact with before and after class, unless someone else makes an effort. It's the first 3 rows. How many psychology faculty members?
Well, we have, I want to say that our tenure track lecturers, about 24, 25-ish. And then we have part-time lecturers that teach in the evening.
And that's just on your campus. That's not on the multi-campus.
That's across all the campuses. On my campus, we have about 7 faculty members.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
If you were going to tell me you have 24 faculty, you're graduating 100 students a year, I was going to go, don't tell anybody that because you've got the best kept secret on the planet. The faculty to student ratio is close to 2 to 1 or something like that.
No, that's private institution levels. No. Luckily, we all get along. A lot of the faculty members that are here have been here for a long, long time. Me and my colleague, Dr. Hale, who started with me, and then there's another faculty member who started about 2-3 years later. We're the youngest faculty members in our department. But yeah, people have been here 30 years, 20 years.
Psych Sessions is proud to partner with Macmillan Learning. At Macmillan Learning Psychology, content matters, and these days, digital content matters more than ever. Macmillan Learning's Achieve elevates interactive teaching and learning with an extraordinary range of online course content in a powerful yet easy-to-use platform. Interactive ebooks, innovative assessments, engaging videos and activities, helpful instructor resources. Achieve brings it all together and makes it easy for you to find what you need and what you want. See for yourself. Go to macmillanlearning.com/psych sessions for an introductory tour today. Macmillan's Achieve for Psychology, engaging every student, supporting every instructor, setting the new standard for teaching and learning.
Okay, so Efren, tell me, what are you on, semesters or quarters?
Semesters. So,
and what do you teach in this semester?
We teach 12 credits, a total of 12 credits, which is 3 to 4 classes.
Okay.
And I've taught a wide variety of classes since I started at UNG. A lot of 11, over in Boise, it's 101, right?
Yes, it is.
Here they go up to the 1,000, so it's 1101. We've taught human development. I'm one of the primary statistics professors, so I teach quantitative methods. I want to teach research methods in the future, but I know that's quite a bit of work to prep that class. I know. Remembering taking your research methods class, there were a lot of moving components. I actually learned so much from your research methods class. Don't be sorry, Eric.
Well, I was just apologizing for the memories. Yeah.
They're good memories. I mean,
for the most part. Yeah. Good for you.
And then I've taught social psychology recently, health psychology, and cross-cultural psychology. Those are typically my core classes that I teach.
And if I remember correctly, you said earlier that you were trained in health psychology.
Yeah,
that's your doctorate. That's your PhD.
Yeah, I got my PhD in health psychology with more of an emphasis in research and teaching. The clinical health psychology program is labeled as behavioral medicine. So that's the clinical psychology program at VCU. No clinical training, even though I did train under a clinician. So under her tutelage, I got to experience assessments, especially working with kids with ADHD. So I got a real well-rounded graduate school experience in that regard. Heck, even the clinical students included me in their little get-togethers every once in a while. So I was hanging out with almost everybody.
Well, that doesn't surprise you, does it? I mean, you're very affable. You're very easygoing. It didn't surprise you that you were invited to social things, did it?
Well, I can be very shy. Once I open up, then, it's a different story, but I can be a bit shy. I used to be really shy in high school. And then by my senior years, when I started opening up more in high school, and then once I got to college, I'm like, wow, it's a different feel. I started interacting with people who were different than me. I always hung out in the Spanish department over at Boise State. I was trying to talk to the girls over there, practicing my Spanish, of course.
Yes.
And I don't know. I remember at Boise State, after I took statistics, and I became the statistics TA because I was the statistics TA for about 2 years, advanced statistics under Dr. Teresa. Oh, what was her last name?
Dr.
Taylor, yes, Teresa Taylor.
Yeah.
So I was her TA for 2 years for advanced statistics. And that's really when I opened up a lot more because I was interacting with students and with my peers at the time, teaching them how to use SPSS, teaching them advanced statistics. And I enjoyed it a lot. And then I was your research assistant my last year in at Boise State. And the conference, I remember going to MPA, and that was fun.
Did we go to MPA or did we go to RMPA?
MPA over in Chicago.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. I think we took a fair number of students that year.
Yeah, you negotiated with the McNair Scholars Program. You never told us what you negotiated. And the director at the time didn't tell us either. She just said he owes us and he's going to do stuff for us.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to tell you, I don't remember that negotiation, but if somebody said it happened, it did. I'm not calling anybody a liar. I have a failing memory. So I'm glad I owe them something. Yeah.
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 No,
well, and plus to go to a conference where there's RMPA and MPA, maybe you're going to SEPA these days. I mean, that's a great experience. In fact, Efren, I haven't been on social media a lot, but I remember a while back, either maybe on Instagram or Facebook, you had taken students to conferences. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. For the last 3 years, I've taken students to SEPA, the Southeastern Psychological Association Conference. Since it's close by, our institution, especially after the pandemic, they just don't have enough resources to truly fund many conferences for us. So I try and look for local conferences to take undergrad students so they can get that firsthand experience of what it is to present at a professional conference. So this year I only took 2 students, but last year I took 5. And to prepare 3 posters, luckily UNG also funds students to go to conferences, but they have to apply for a grant. To help them get that grant, that was a lot of work. But seeing them present research, getting that experience was worth it all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to be careful. Going to a conference as an undergraduate, I don't want to call it a life-changing experience, but I think for some people it can be a career-changing experience because, even at Boise State, any undergraduate degree, for the most part, you're just cruising along the surface of psychology. You're taking developmental and social and cognitive and experimental and statistics and blah, blah, blah. But when you go to a conference, a student can take a deep dive into their own passions and they can go hear things that they've never read in a textbook. They can sometimes go meet their textbook authors by going to sessions. And it can just be, again, I think life-changing may be too strong, but a career-changing experience for some, for sure.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, going to a professional conference, I had the opportunity to go see Dr. Philip Zimbardo, rest his soul, when I went to the WPA conference. And afterwards, there was always a chance to take a picture with Philip. And I'll never forget, when it was my turn, I thought I was just going to stand next to him very formally. Yeah. And I always tell this story to my students. Dr. Zimbardo grabs me by the shoulder. Now, keep in mind, he's sitting in a chair. He grabs me by the shoulder and he puts me down to his level. So I'm now kneeling next to him. And then he puts his cheek next to mine and they capture that moment. And my face is just shocked.
Deer in the headlights for our listeners.
He probably gave me the best life advice because I remember seeing his lips move, but I was in shock because I'm like, oh my gosh, I just took a picture with Dr. Zimbardo this close that I just grabbed my phone and I went to my hotel room and I'm like, what just happened? But you're right. These moments really stand out with you and can definitely change your educational life, your career life or career perspective in a very, very positive way.
Yeah. And just for our listeners, actually, Phil Zimbardo has been on the Psych Sessions podcast. And so my buddy, Garth Neufeld, recorded with him, maybe 2 years before he passed. And so, you can go back and catch that episode. Where else did you want to go? I'm cognizant of time. We've got a little bit of time left, but So Efren, when you were thinking about, I'm going to talk to what's his name this morning, I I'd love to hear a little bit about your Boise State experience. And trust me, I am not fishing for compliments. I'm not fishing for about me or our department, but I'd love to hear what you took with you. In other words, something happened in a class or an experience outside a classroom experience that you experienced at Boise State that you're trying to provide for your UNG students.
I'm glad you bring up Boise State, because I wanted a topic that I wanted to bring up with you was mentorship and the importance of mentorship. And don't be shy. I know you're not very shy, Eric, and I want to see if I can make you blush a little bit. But you truly, you truly were a very, very important mentor for me when I was at Boise State. And I tell students this, my students, the class that really pushed me towards becoming a professor was your research methods class. Based off of your teaching style, how you interacted with the students. Your classes were tough. They were challenging, but I learned the most in your classes. And I try to strive for that when it comes to my style of teaching.
So first off, Efren, I appreciate that. And I'm going to do everything possible to not make a joke or deflect from that very kind compliment. I will tell you that I had a very similar experience. My undergraduate, the person I did research with, Charlie Maliska, was an amazing professor. And when I got to Boise State, I wanted to replicate the experience that he gave me, being an RA, being a student in his class. And that was the mentoring relationship for me that drove me to do the things that I did. And I'll tell you one quick story. I was in one of his classes. I mean, when I went to undergrad, in the 1800s, there were only 3 psychology professors at the college I was going to. And I overslept one morning. I overslept and missed a test. And this was before email. And so either I must have called him or ran into him and said, hey, I missed a test. I'm sorry. It was an accident. And he left the paper in a inter-office agency envelope on his office, and he let me take the test late. And in some ways, I've had a slight resentment about that my entire career, because of the kindness that he showed to me. I have now been showing that kindness to students because he modeled it for me. And so, you miss a test, we'll figure it out. You got something going on in your life, we'll figure it out. And so, it would have been a lot easier to be a hard ass, but it wouldn't have been better to be a hard ass. And so he did me a favor, of which I'm only slightly resentful about.
But it's those moments and that really start the pipeline going, I'll never forget one of the first conversations I had with you. And it was about what do I need to do to get a grad school? This is before really we even interacted with each other fully. So I sat down in your office, and the first thing you asked me was, who are your 3 letter writers? And I'm like,
a question I still ask to this day. Yeah.
And I asked the same exact question now to my students when they asked me about getting into grad school. Because that really stood out to me, and that made me realize, oh my goodness, I need to get the ball going. I need to figure out how am I going to get those 3 letter writers. And not only just that they have to, they can write a letter, but if they can write a strong letter of recommendation.
Yes, I still talk about that too.
See, it's been how many years, Eric? And
30%. Yeah. Well, and the follow-up conversation about, do you have 3 strong letter writers available to you, has become, if you don't, have you thought about, and these are the 3 most dread words. These are the 3 words that cause the most tears in my office. And I'm not happy about that, but they just do. I use the words, extend your stay. Mm-hmm. If you've come to Boise State, especially as a transfer student, you've come to Boise State, you're racing through, you're sick of undergrad, but yet you want to go to grad school. And you don't have 3 letter writers. You don't have the experiences. think about extending your stay. And a lot of students can't for a lot of really legitimate reasons. But if you hurry up and get it over with, sometimes if you have a bare minimum experience, you're going to have a bare minimum application to graduate school. And so I've had a lot of students literally cry in my office, take that advice, and tell me later they were glad they did because they were successful in what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I've had students their last semester here, right before they're going to graduate, we have that conversation regarding getting into grad school. We look at their GPA, and then I ask them the critical question, who are your 3-letter writers? And then I do propose, if possible, stay another year. It's not a race to get that bachelor's degree, especially if you want to go to graduate school. Build that CV, build that resume.
Well, I just had this conversation yesterday with a student. We all get in this mind. We all want to make the best decision. Mm-hmm. We want to make the best decision. We don't want to make a mistake. These big choice points in our lives, who to marry, what car to buy, what grad school to go to. Do I apply to grad school or not? And the thing is, none of us can peek at the end of the book and see how it turned out. And I know you know all this. We make the best decision we can with the data that we have at the time. Mm-hmm. But I think students sometimes, like I'll be talking with a 24-year-old student, and they'll go, I'm already behind. I should have finished college when I was 22. And if I take a gap year, I'm going to be behind even more. And there's this a little bit of competition or mindset, maybe pressure from parents or whatnot, society. And so it's really hard to get people to just slow down and think about the long haul and have their GPS set where they know what they want to do next, as opposed to they're iffy about what they want to do next.
Yeah. But this is where mentorship is critical. And again, I was very fortunate enough to have, you were one of my mentors, Dr. Teresa Taylor, Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, who were all ended up being my letter writers. And then I had Pat too. Pat, I worked with her for one semester, I think, as a teaching assistant, and she was wonderful to talk to, a department chair at the time. And in grad school, same thing. I had my graduate school mentor, phenomenal, Dr. Rosalie Corona. A big shout out to her. Played a very, very important role in my development, also as a professor, as a mentor. And then right when I was ready to graduate from VCU, VCU hired a number of faculty members from different backgrounds, Latino, African-American, Afro-Latino. And I'm like, man, this is right when I'm ready to leave. All these folks could be great mentors for me. And I still stay in touch with some of them. So, interacting with all these folks that played a vital role in my formation. And that's what I tell my students. You don't necessarily need just one mentor, get different mentors,
right? Because
everyone has their strengths.
Yeah. And you and I have both known people who, an undergraduate might work with somebody for 3 years, which is going to be a great letter, a great mentoring relationship. But if you need 3, you do need to have multiple people be aware of your professional skills and abilities. So
I completely agree with you. Yeah. Yes.
So Efren, you mentioned earlier that you think you might have an interest in administration later in your career, or maybe sooner in your career. I don't know. When you say that, do you mean department chair? Do you mean like a dean, an associate provost? What does that trajectory look like in your head?
Oh, that's sad. It changes every day.
Okay, fair enough.
So first, now that my wife is here, I definitely want to see if we can start a family. And I know if you start a family, taking on an admin position might not necessarily be the best choice in higher ed because of the time commitments. So first, I want to see if we can have a kid. And depending on also, what she wants to study, she's considering getting a degree in teaching eventually here. Once she works on her English skills, I wouldn't mind Not in the near future, definitely in long term. Experience as department chair somewhere, if not here, somewhere else. Maybe up to a dean position. Farther than that, I've seen how the UNG provost works. It's a lot of work. She does a phenomenal job. But I also see the stress levels that comes with that position. So maybe not that high, but definitely maybe up to like a dean, associate dean level. I can see myself up to that position.
Well, and plus you don't have to do the rate limiting right now. I mean, I've known enough folks who've done this path that, you get into one thing and you do good, but then you see that you're rate limited and, a dean can only do so much. And so a dean starts looking at the provost level. Provost can only do so much. They start looking at the president level. Even though we make the joke about the dark side, those things are not evil. So they're really not. And honestly, Efren, good for you for thinking about, it's okay for me to leave UNG. I mean, I know you're not saying that now that you want to, but we all become attached to our institutions.
Yes.
And we say things like, oh, but the students really need you at UNG. But any students and faculty are going to need you wherever you go. And so you're going to be appreciated wherever you go. And it could be there, but it might be somewhere else. And good for you for seeing the field and understanding opportunities might take me somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I've been telling some folks after year 10, I can invest my retirement here, my pension plan here, and then I want to start looking at different options. And maybe it'll still be here at UNG. I got a little taste of admin work in the spring semester, just a tiny bit. I was the Hispanic Initiatives Project Manager, which came with a course release, but I was working very closely with the Dean of Students Office, with the Dean of University College, and I led the committee and all the Hispanic Initiatives tasks that we had to do that semester. So I had the opportunity to present in front of the UNG president and the cabinet, which I thought I was going to be more intimidated, but once I started talking, just words came out of my mouth.
Well, and the good part about this, which you might not want to admit, you have expertise, and you probably have expertise that they don't have. So they should be listening to you. And I know you well enough to know that you were respectful, you were polite, you were probably funny, you didn't go in a t-shirt and shorts, you did the thing, you did all the things. And so good for you. Yeah. Glad you had that taste.
That little nibble. And that's where I realized this is something I definitely would like to do, but not right now, not in the near. I need more experience. Again, I still want to keep on teaching. I do feel like I can do more teaching, doing these projects that we've mentioned before. But in the long run, an admin position, and it's funny, my graduate school mentor mentioned something like this, where they can see me in an admin position. One of my closest graduate school friends keeps on pushing me to apply to different positions around, especially Illinois. She lives in Illinois. She's working in the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, and she keeps on encouraging me to apply to admin positions.
Well, and you'll do that in your own time. And also, you already know this. You can apply for things, get offered them, and say no. I mean, that's okay too. I mean, just, you can, dip your toes in the water if you want to and see what's going on there. Efren, as you're thinking about talking to me today, was there anything else? Oh, I want to make sure I talk to him about X, Y, or Z. Can you solve that equation? Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on yet?
Wow, I feel like we had a great conversation. I mean, that's the thing. We haven't talked in about, has it been 2 years?
That sounds about right.
And that's one thing that I keep on telling my students. I still try and stay in touch with my mentors in undergrad. And I know I said this before, but I just want to make sure that I'm drilling it in your head, Eric. Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you've done and the mentorship. I truly appreciate, your guidance back in the day, even currently. And I'll never forget, we had great moments when I was at Boise State. One of the moments that really stood out was when you met my parents in the McNair Scholar ceremony.
Right.
And you kept on you told everybody, like, this is a very emotional, celebration. And that year, I laugh right now, but at the moment it was, my girlfriend wasn't there at the time. But you did meet my girlfriend in another event, which she was shocked when she met you. But I'll never forget, you told my parents, people cry here, students cry here. So all my peers that day, no one cried. I was the last one to speak. And I don't know, I just all of a sudden I got into my feelings that moment. So I saw my mom cry. And I'm like, okay, my mom's crying. She's very emotional. But I saw my dad cry. No, when I saw my dad cry, all of a sudden I started remembering what you said about this being a very emotional ceremony. Yeah. And then I started crying. And then it was like a domino effect. I looked across the room and I started seeing a whole bunch of people cry. I'm like, oh, Eric got into my head.
So what I hear you saying is that was my fault, and I'll just offer my apology right here and now.
No, don't worry about it. It was just something that it just really stood out to me. I'm like, I remember when Eric, and I just wanted to kind of, bring that up, but it was fun. It was a fun moment as well.
So by the law of transitivity, are you trying to say that I made your mom and dad cry?
You made me cry by
it's if A then B, if B then C, therefore if A then C. Yeah,
exactly.
I made your parents cry. No one's ever said that to me on the podcast, and so this is a first. This is awesome.
First time for everything.
That's right. Well, Efren, I want to be respectful of time, and I've had guests on before who had gone to Boise State, and I don't know if you're comfortable with this claim, but I'm going to use it anyway. I claim you as one of my students. And I know, Teresa Taylor and Elizabeth Morgan may do the same thing. I don't know. I claim you as one of mine. And you're the first one of my undergraduates that have been on the podcast. And so, wow. And 230 some episodes so far. So it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. And it's just been a load of fun to watch you be so successful in your career. It's not exactly a parenting perspective, but sometimes it's damn close.
Wow, you're gonna make me cry again, Eric.
Well, apparently it's what I do. It's what I do around you and your family.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your words, and I feel honored to be, invited to this podcast. I was looking through the list. I listened to a couple episodes, and when you invited me, I'm like, wow, this is a huge list, a very important list. So I truly feel honored. And Eric, again, thank you for everything that you've done for me.
You're sincerely welcome, and thanks for making the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric.